Good afternoon everybody, welcome back to Market Insights with Linux, or welcome to the channel if you're new. In this video we're going to do a full analysis, both fundamentally and technically, on the Amazon stock, so that's what we're going to do in the rest of the video. First, quickly wanted to announce something though, that if you're new to the channel or if you have been a follower, we have a free channel you can join on Telegram, in which I give some calls here and there, but also just daily updates regarding news and regarding the markets. And we've now also added a chat room to that, all right? So if there's some sort of specific small stock that might not be that viable for a video, but that you do want to see an analysis on, or that you do want to get some technical thoughts on, you can ask me in there and you can send it in there. So consider joining that if you're interested in that. The link will be down in the description, and I just sent an alert or a message in there with a link to that chat room. But for now, let's get right into Amazon. I wanted to do a video here on Amazon because I think we are at quite an interesting level here, around $230 and $232, which is the main resistance level. We have been able to break above that a couple of times, but so far, if you go back to January 2025, but also the other time we broke out, the 31st of July, we've never been able to hold a breakout above that level. I know a lot of major analysts and firms all have predictions higher, but that doesn't necessarily mean we're going to get there very soon. And at this point of time, I think it's I think it's something valuable and something interesting to actually look at that and to find out, can we actually break above that, yes or no? And I think first of all, when we're talking about the long term for Amazon, I do think we can break above that. But short term, I'm not convinced. We have some major news coming out, right? We have some major news coming out at the end of the week with some sort of an inflation rate number. I think based on that, we could potentially break out, right? So that is something to watch. We're most likely going to get a rate cut in September. If inflation is going to be lower than expected, much lower than expected Friday, which I don't necessarily expect, and that's also why I'm telling you at this point of time, I don't expect a breakout yet. But if that's much lower than expected, then all of a sudden I think the market is going to have to price in 3 rate cuts for 2025. At this point of time, it's pricing in 2 rate cuts, and then we can break out. But I think at this point of time, there's not enough momentum. I don't think the fundamentals are good enough. I mean, Amazon, it's a great business, and we've been trending up until the 31st of July, and that's very deserved. And I think that there are some amazing things regarding the company, right? I mean, fundamentally, I personally quite like, at least long term, what they're doing with the grocery business, right? So right now they're very much expanding that, especially also for Prime subscribers, etc. And they're trying to take away that market share from Walmart. I think short term that's a bit risky, because the grocery business is not the best one to be in. But I do think Amazon has the economies of scale to actually make that work and actually make that a great business component, which you can at some point of time also get some more profits out of, so some net profits. But so I think that's short-term business-wise, I'm not sure if that's going to work out, but short-term investors-wise, I mean, investors are always earlier, right? Always trying to price in things that will happen in the future. So I think it's actually positive about that. The AWS cloud services has declined a little bit, or at least the growth has slowed. But I think that's quite normal. It's a very saturated market at this point of time. You have quite a lot of big providers of cloud services. I mean, at some point of time, I mean, it cannot always keep growing, right? So I think the fundamentals are fine. I think I think the technicals at this point of time are showing us that we are slowing down slightly, and that it's more likely that on the short term at least, some sort of a consolidation, some sort of stability between 232 and 210, which, by the way, 210, I think, especially going into September, October, is an amazing buy area. But I think that is the area which we will stay in for now. Get some bad news on Friday, and we can also drop down into that bottom. I think you should be prepared for that as well. Good news Friday, we can break out soon. Bad news Friday, or normal news, I think we will remain relatively stable. Maybe get a hit into 215, 210, and then eventually break out later this year. But that is something I'll still keep you updated on. Hopefully for the short term, this video suits your or fulfills your needs in terms of trading and investing Amazon stock. If you do have any questions, like I said, join the chat room that we have on Telegram right now. But for now, that's it. So thank you for watching. I'll see you all in my next videos. Consider subscribing if you want to see more videos on Amazon. I do see that. And have a great day. Bye.